What if I told you that one of the most popular video games circulating right now has sold over 10 million copies, and is made by a single person? Video games as a whole are a form of media that took the world by storm since their creation, and have only been increasing in popularity, so more and more developers have been taking a swing at making the next headlining product. As consumers, we notice it all around us, being a heavy influence in our lives and in some cases, bleeding into the other forms of media we take in. As someone who not only plays games but creates assets for them in his free time, I believe that everyone should be getting into the hobby of making games this year. Because of all the great things the act of creating video games support, you should all consider getting into the process that strengthens every form of artistic skill. In this presentation, I'll be telling you what video games are, how you can get into the process of making them, and why. So, what are games? Well, video games are a great recreational pastime and are vast in their genres, from the most epic of adventures to the most relaxing life simulators. There is a game for everyone, and in that aspect, you're guaranteed that no matter what you create, someone out there is going to enjoy it. For instance, that game I was talking about earlier? It's called Stardew Valley, and it's a game about farming and marriage. It's here where I want to reestablish the fact that it was made by one person. As Ellen Many of K5 News states, Barone built Stardew Valley entirely by himself, literally everything in the game. Programming, music, art, graphics, writing, all done by him in those 4 years. And that's such an amazing feat, right? But you're probably thinking that, well, farming simulation? That's not anything new. We did have Farmville after all, so it's not as niche as you imply. But even in the largest of genres, there are subgenres, so no matter what you write, you could be as absurd as you want. For example of how outlandish games can be, I present to you Death Stranding by Hideo Kojima. Adrian Chen of New York Times writes, "The world of Death Stranding is like a depressed survivalist's fever dream. It's an unsettling mix of high technology, supernatural horror, and pristine wilderness. The game's vision of post-apocalyptic America is a forbidding volcanic landscape of snow-capped peaks and mossy lava fields." And yes, that is the TV star from The Walking Dead. And yes, he is carrying a baby inside a capsule. So, in its diversity and depth, the barrier of entry for creating games should have a large ceiling cap, right? Well, not really. Just like how there are many games that exist, there are several game development programs that exist to fit the need and budget of its creator. Most games are only limited to your imagination and can be made through the many freeware that exist across the internet. From music to graphics to coding, there's a free version out there for anything you need to create. Need to make sprites or character models? Blender and GIMP exist to help in the art department, whether it be 3D modeling or 2D pixel. Want to make music? SoundBridge and Cakewalk help you make any sort of beat you need. Voice recording? Audacity. In fact, I'm using Audacity right now as we speak. And I want to repeat, these are all free for you to download right now on the internet. And if you look around, there's so much more out there for you to use as a resource. In fact, full-on AAA development tools in the form of Unity and Unreal Engine, which powers some of the most graphically amazing games we have today, were made free by the developers. So, I've spoken about how you can make these things, which raises the question, why should you? Well, video games have become an integral part of our society, both economically and socially. In an article written by Andrew Beatty of the marketing editorial Investopedia, he overviews the technological advancements brought forth by the game development community, such as VR and motion controls. Companies everywhere are trying to make the best next thing to push entertainment. And like sports, video games have their own competitive scene in the form of esports. Multiplayer online battle arena League of Legends has an annual competition with well-known teams and $1 million grand prize. And video games as a whole bring people of all backgrounds together. Some stream themselves playing games, some make art or cosplays of characters of games, and some even make their own fan games in response to games. When you make games, you're not only making a game, you're creating a lasting community and bringing people together. And like I said in the beginning, this helps strengthen every aspect of artistic articulation. Whether it be writing, art, music production, or even acting, creating video games help strengthen these core fundamentals. But not only that, if you take the step further and actually learn coding, which you don't have to, by the way, to make games, that is a core skill that's needed in today's society. Plus, an article written by Peter Studeman of the New York Times says that video games are kind of the best way to socially distance, so you'd be saving lives. And that's all there is to it. Video games are the ultimate form of expression, and as I stated before, it's widespread, easy to get into, and versatile in what you can and want to do. Not only are you making games for yourself, you're creating a community, connecting people together. So, go out and create. Whether you just want to practice your skills or gain a new one, remember that there's always going to be someone out there, from the press of start all the way till after the credits when the screen says game over.